Picture this. A man in his late 60s, hands shaking from arthritis, pushing a mop bucket down a military corridor. Everyone walks past him like he's invisible. Just another janitor, doing his job. But what if I told you this man once had the power to start her? Prevent world wars. What if those same officers who ignore him every day have no idea they re-walking past a living legend? This is a story about assumptions, about how we judge people by what we see on the surface, and about a soldier so elite that his entire career is still classified decades after it ended. Let me take you to Fort Bragg. On an ordinary Tuesday morning, the air is sharp and fresh, the kind that makes most people happy to be alive. But for James Mitchell, it's just another workday. He's wearing a custodial uniform that hangs loose on his thin frame, faded from countless washes over 3 years. His hands shake as he wrings out his mop. Arthritis. At 68. Even the simplest tasks hurt these days. 3 years ago, his wife died. Then the medical bills came. Social Security barely covered groceries, and his VA pension went straight to prescriptions. So he's cleaning floors in the same building where he once briefed presidents. Nobody knows that, of course. No, the SE case. That's the thing about janitors there. Supposed to be invisible. Heavy oak doors slam open at the end of the hallway. Lieutenant General Marcus Thorne bursts through with 2 8s, trailing behind. Thorne is everything Mitchell isn't anymore. Powerful, commanding, pristine. His dress uniform is covered in ribbons that catch the light. He's barking orders into his phone about deployment timelines and readiness assessments. Mitchell does what he always does. He steps aside, pressing his bucket against the wall. Eyes down. Invisible. But then something changes. Thorne stops. His polished shoes squeak on the wet floor. He lowers his phone, irritation spreading across his face. "You," he snaps at Mitchell. "This floor is dangerous. Someone could slip." Mitchell looks up slowly. "Sir, I placed warning signs every 10 feet. I don't care about signs, old man. I care about results." Thorne's eyes narrow as he takes in Mitchell's appearance. The age, the shabby uniform, those trembling hands. "How old are you, anyway? Shouldn't you be enjoying retirement?" "I am retired, sir. This is just, let me guess. You were what?" "Supply clerk. Administrative. Paper. Something like that. And now you're here, getting in the way of people who actually make a difference." Thorne's aides shift uncomfortably, but neither says a word. Mitchell feels something tighten in his chest. Not angry. Buried that long ago. Just a dull, familiar ache. The kind you feel when you realize how completely you've been forgotten. "I did my time, sir, like many others. I'm sure you did." Thorne's tone makes it crystal clear what he thinks that service amounted to. He glances at his watch, then back at Mitchell with a calculated smirk. "Actually, I'm curious. Every real warrior I know has a story worth telling. What's yours? What did you accomplish that mattered?" One of the aides, a major with Ranger tabs, looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Sir, we're running late." Thorne raises his hand, cutting him off. He's enjoying this now. There's cruelty in his eyes, the kind that comes from climbing so high you forget what the ground looks like. "I want to know. Did you even deploy? See actual combat? Or did you spend your entire career stateside, counting inventory?" Mitchell's jaw tightens. He could walk away. Should walk away. But something in Thorny's absolute certainty that he is talking to someone insignificant keeps him rooted in place. "I deployed, sir." "Where?" "Let me guess. Japan. A few places. Did what needed doing." Thorne steps closer. Mitchell can smell expensive cologne. "You know what I think? I think you're one of those guys who exaggerates, tells big stories at the Veterans Hall about wars you barely saw. It's pathetic, honestly. Men like you, living off other people's courage. That's not." The major's hand moves unconsciously to his sidearm. "Not threatening. Just steadying himself. That's not possible. Silent Wolf was. Was what? Thorne demands, his smile fading. Someone explain what's happening. The Major isn't listening. He's staring at Mitchell's face, really seeing it for the first time, looking past the wrinkles and custodial uniform to something underneath. Sir, we need to make a call. Right now? I don't take orders from you, Major. The other aide, a young captain who's been silent until now, has pulled out his phone. His hands are shaking worse than Mitchell's ever did as he searches something on screen. General ... Silent Wolf, exits, in the registry. Joint Special Operations Command historical call signs. It's flagged red. What does that mean? Thorne's confidence is cracking. It means, the Major says slowly, that if anyone ever uses that call sign, we're supposed to immediately notify the National Command Authority. It means the call sign is attached to operations, so classified they don't have official names. It means he looks at Mitchell again, and this time there's awe in his face. Sir, how many missions? Mitchell's voice is quiet. I stopped counting after Panama. The Major's phone is already at his ear. This is Major Reeves. I need a priority channel to the Pentagon. Authentication code Tango 7 Naneroba. Yes, I'll wait. He covers the phone. Sir, what's your full name? Mitchell. James Mitchell. Whatever color remained in the Major's face disappears completely. The James Mitchell. Operation Eagle Claw. The Terran exfiltration. Mitchell doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. Thorne is looking between his aides and the old janitor, trying to understand how the power dynamic shifted so completely. Someone better start explaining, or I'm writing all of you up. The Major's phone conversation has gotten urgent. Yes, sir. I understand. He's here now, at Bragg. The Major looks at Mitchell's custodial uniform and something like rage flashes across his face. He's employed here as a janitor, sir. The voice on the other end is loud enough that everyone can hear the shouting, even if the words aren't clear. The Major holds the phone away from his ear, wincing. Yes, sir. I'll keep him here. Understood. He lowers the phone slowly. General Tournay, I strongly suggest you stop talking right now. Excuse me. Thorne's face has gone purple. I don't know what game you think the elevator dings. Doors open. A Colonel Mitchell doesn't recognize steps out, moving fast. He has a phone pressed to his ear and looks barely controlled panic on his face. Where is he? The Major points at Micha. The Colonel stops. Stares. Brings the phone back up. Confirm visual. Yes, sir. He crosses the distance in 4 long strides and does something that makes Thorne's jaw drop. He comes to attention and salutes. Sir? The Colonel says, voice tight. Coloneles, Jotas, Oseliaison. I've been instructed to inform you that the Secretary of Defense is currently on a conference call with the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the Director of National Intelligence. They'd like to speak with you immediately. Michu looks at the mop bucket, at his trembling hands, at the life he built from the pieces of the one he left behind. I don't work for them anymore, Colonel. Sir, with respect, they're saying, you never stopped. Your security clearance was never revoked. According to the system, you're still listed as an active asset, just on indefinite standby. That's ridiculous, Thorne interjects. He's a janitor. He's been here for years and nobody. Colonel Hayes turns to look at Thorne, and his expression could freeze nitrogen. General, I'm going to ask you one question. Think very carefully before answering. Did you, at any point in the last 10 minutes, threaten, insult, or otherwise disrespect this man? Thorne opens his mouth, closes it, rallies. I don't know what kind of stolen valor situation this is, but I had every right. Silent Wolf, Hayes cuts him off. Is the call sign attached to operations including, but not limited to, the extraction of U.S. personnel from Tehran in 1980 when Eagle Claw failed, the elimination of 3 Soviet deep cover networks in West Germany, the successful recovery of nuclear material from a compromised facility in Ukraine in 1991, and approximately 40 other missions still classified at the cosmic level. He takes a breath. The man you've been humiliating is personally responsible for saving an estimated 2,000 American lives, possibly preventing World War III on at least 2 occasions, and has more confirmed enemy kills than the entire 75th Ranger Regiment during the same operational period. The hallway had filled with people now. Officers, enlisted personnel, civilian contractors, all drawn by the commotion. They stood in doorways and at corridor edges, watching. General Thorne's face had gone from purple to white. He stammered. I had no way of knowing. His file, Hayes continued, his voice rising with controlled anger, contains personal commendation letters from 6 different presidents. 6. When he finally retired in the ceremony was so secret, it was classified. The Secretary of Defense himself personally asked what he wanted as a retirement gift. And you know what he said? Nothing. Eisbau said, letting the weight of his words sink in. Do you know why he's working as a janitor, General? Thorne could only shake his head mutely. Because his wife got cancer, Hayes explained, his voice sharp. The treatments bankrupted him, because the pension he receives is calculated on his official rank, Master Sergeant, even though he operated at a level that would make most colonels weep with envy. Because he's too proud to ask for help and too honorable to trade on his service. Just then, Hayes' phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Sir? They're waiting. Mitchell looked at all the faces watching him. Young soldiers who grew up on stories of operators like him, never knowing one mopped their floors. Officers who walked past him daily without a second glance. He felt a profound weariness wash over him. So very tight. Punto. So very tight. Tell them I'll call back. Sir, with respect, Hayes insisted. The secretary was very clear. I said I'll call back. Colonel, there was something in Mitchell's voice now. An edge worn smooth by years, but still there, buried deep. It was the voice of a man who once told generals and presidents what he would and would undo back. When it mattered, Hayes instinctively straightened his posture. Yes, sir, I'll relay the message. Mitchell then turned his attention to Thorne. The general looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. I don't want your apology. Mitchell sighed, his voice flat. I don't want anything from you. I'm sorry, Thorne said anyway, his voice cracking. I didn't know. I swear. That's the problem, Mitchell interrupted, cutting him off. You didn't know, so you assumed. You saw an old man with a mop, and decided that was all he could be, all he'd ever been. He bent down and picked up his mop bucket, the plastic handle creaking in his grip. I've killed men for less than what you said to me today, he continued, his voice low and steady. Men who threatened American lives. But you know what? You're not worth it. You're just another officer who forgot that rank doesn't make you better than anyone. It makes you responsible for them. He started pushing his bucket down the hall, the wheels squeaking on the polished floor. Then he stopped and looked back, his gaze sweeping over the silent crowd before landing on Thorne again. And for the record, I never told stories at veterans' halls. Everything I did is still classified. The men I served with are almost all dead. The operations I ran don't exist in any official record. So no, Genera, I don't get thanked for my service, because nobody knows what that service was. The crowd parted like the Red Sea as he walked. More than a few soldiers, recognizing the gravity of the moment, came to attention as he passed. A Navy SEAL Mitchell had never met placed his hand over his heart in a silent salute. A young airman, barely out of his teens, whispered, "Thank you for your service," and you could hear in his voice that he truly meant it. Mitchell made it all the way to the janitor's closet before Hayes caught up to him. Sir, I need to know, are you really? Okay, because I can make calls right now. I can get you set up with better benefits, a proper pension review, full medical care. I'm okay, Colonel, Mitchell said, the words seeming to cost him a great deal of effort as he hung up his mop. I made peace with this life long ago. But it's not right, Hayes protested. What you did for this country. What I did, Mitchell said, turning to face him. I did because it needed doing. Not for medals or recognition. That was the job. That's always been the job. Hayes nodded slowly, the understanding dawning in his eyes. He snapped to attention one more time. It was an honor, sir. Truly. After the colonel left, Mitchell sat down on an overturned bucket. The silence of the small closet pressing in on him. He looked at his hands. They were trembling again, but they felt lighter now, like a heavy burden had been lifted, even if just for a moment. Outside, he could hear Thorne's voice, high-pitched and defensive, explaining to someone on the phone what had just happened, making excuses. Frantically trying to save his career. Mitchell didn't care. He's faced men who would kill him without hesitation. He had stared down his own mortality more times than he could count. A general's bruised ego wasn't even a footnote in his life. His phone buzzed. It was a cheap, prepaid model. The screen showed an unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but some instinct, honed over a lifetime of clandestine work, made him flip it open. He put it to his ear. Michel. James. This is Secretary Brennan. I think we need to talk about your employment situation. Mitchell closes his eyes, the smell of disinfectant sharp in his nostrils. Sir, with respect, I'm fine where I am. You're mopping floors. Honest work, sir. A long pause stretches across the phone line, heavy with unspoken words. The president would like to meet with you, to say thank you personally for everything. I don't need thanks, sir. I know you don't. But maybe we need to give it. Maybe this country needs to be reminded that heroes don't always wear uniforms anymore. Sometimes they wear custodial jumpsuits, because they're too proud to ask for help. Mitchell feels something crack deep in his chest. It's like a wall, built brick by brick, over decades of silent service and stoic endurance. Who's Gabe why? What would you have me do, sir? He asks, his voice barely a whisper. Come to Washington. Let us fix this. Let us take care of you the way you took care of us. His mind flashes to his wife. He sees her smile, the way her eyes lit up when she called him her hero, whether he was in a uniform or not. He thinks about the stack of bills on his kitchen table, a silent testament to their daily struggles. He thinks about the medications he sometimes skips, trying to stretch them out just a little longer. And he remembers the faces of those young soldiers he passed in the hospital hallway, the mix of pity and confusion in their eyes as they looked at the janitor. I'll think about it. That's all I ask. Brennan pauses. And James, Silent Wolf was the best call sign any operator ever earned. You lived up to it every single day. Thank you, sir. The line goes dead. Mitchell sits there, in the quiet of the janitor's closet, surrounded by mops and buckets and cleaning supplies. And for the first time in years, a genuine smile spreads across his face. This story isn't just about one man. It's a powerful lesson for all of us. How often do we judge people by their cover? We see the barista serving our coffee, the cleaner wiping down tables, the elderly neighbors struggling with their groceries, and we make assumptions. We see the surface and think we know the whole story. Everything that lies underneath, we couldn't be more wrong. That person, you barely noticed. They might have saved lives. They might have changed the course of history. James Mitchell, the man they called Silent Wolf, spent decades protecting a world that would never even know his name. He was a ghost, a whisper in the shadows, preventing wars that were never fought, saving lives that were never even aware they were in danger. He was the invisible shield, stopping threats before they could ever materialize. And when his service was over, when the country he protected seemed to forget him, he didn't complain. He didn't ask for a handout. He simply picked up a mop and kept going. Because that's what real heroes do. They don't do it for the recognition, the parades, or the medals. They do what needs to be done, and then they quietly fade into the background. Think about the sheer number of veterans in our communities. Millions of men and women who wore the uniform, who signed a blank check payable to their country for an amount up to and including their life. They come from every branch: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. They served in times of war and peace, in roles we can't even imagine. They were engineers, medics, pilots, infantry, intelligence analysts, and so much more. Each one has a story. Each one carries experiences that have shaped them in profound ways. When they take off that uniform for the last time, their mission doesn't just end. A new one begins. It's the mission of reintegrating into a civilian world that often doesn't understand their language, their discipline, or their sacrifices. They faced new battles, fought not on foreign soil, but in their own homes and communities. Battles like finding a new career, navigating the complexities of the VA system, paying medical bills, or simply finding a new sense of purpose when the one that defined them for so long is gone. These battles are fought with the same quiet courage and unwavering determination they showed on classified missions. They don't ask for much. They're not looking for pity or special treatment. What they're asking for is what every human being deserves. Basic respect, basic dignity. They ask for the simple assumption that they matter, that their life has value, even if you don't know their full story. So, the next time you encounter someone, anyone, remember T's. Remember, you have no idea what battles they've fought, what sacrifices they've made, what silent burdens they carry. Look past the uniform they wear today, whether it's a business suit, a cashier's vest, or a janitor's jumpsuit. See the person. See the potential for a hero standing right in front of you. Remember Silent Wolf. Remember the elite warrior who became invisible because that's what warriors do when the war is over. They come home. They find a new way to serve, a new way to contribute, even if it's just by ensuring the floors of a hospital are clean and safe for others. They keep fighting, just in a different arena. Is it really too much to ask that we honor that fight, that we give them the space and the respect they've earned 1,000 times over? Let's make a conscious effort to see beyond our initial judgments. A simple smile, a nod of acknowledgement, a thank you. These small acts of kindness can mean the world. They affirm that we see them, that we recognize their humanity. Let's build a community where every hero, seen and unseen, feels valued. It starts with us, right here, right now. Let's not let our heroes remain invisible. Thank you for watching.